Okay, looks like I'm alive right now. Exceptionally, once again, breaking my rules. I'm doing a second video today, although the one this morning I did was pretty much of an impromptu one. This is the promised video, talking about a bit about my life with early onset frontotemporal dementia, which I'm extremely nervous about. I did do a video about my diagnosis and glossed a bit about it. I'll have that video in a linked comment below. Good evening, Miss Array and Hearts Love. Hearts Love, thanks for leaving the link to my PayPal. If anybody wishes to support the channel, the PayPal link is also in the description box as well. But don't feel pressured. I'm glad you're here. Oh, come on, ladies. It's not a race. Oh, you ran off repairmen. You're going to have to tell us about that sometime. You're going to have to tell us about that sometime. How often do we want to run those off, right? Okay. Yeah, that's true. I forgot to ask if that was a good thing. Okay, Miss Array. Well, thanks for starting us off with humor, because this is a video I'm nervous about doing, even though it's the second video on this subject that I'm doing. Because the first time around, I don't know, I felt it wasn't all that well received, but the reason I wanted to talk about it was back then, it was because I wanted to raise awareness that this is, a lot of people in society, I notice, still think this is very much exclusively an old person's disease, a senior citizen's condition, that only people over the age of 65 get this condition. And while it is most common for the elderly, and the older one is, for obvious reasons, the more of a risk there is for conditions like the dementias, like Alzheimer's. But people as young as 30, while rare, but people as young as 30 in their 40s get early onset frontotemporal dementia, Pick's disease, Alzheimer's, and all those related conditions, you know. And after 5 years of being stuck with a borderline personality disorder misdiagnosis, I'm not going to talk much about that because I have videos on that subject, and I will link to them in a pinned comment. But yeah, it turned out a neurologist who actually took the time to run some brain scans on me and found that I was losing volume at a faster rate than people in my age bracket should have been. I was losing volume in my frontal and temporal lobes at a faster rate. Now, apparently, it is normal, particularly after one hits the age of 50. It is normal for a loss. Hey, Sheldon, good to see you. Hey, Sheldon. So apparently it is normal to suffer this kind of loss in the frontal and temporal lobes once one turns 50. The question becomes at how rapid, at how fast a rate. My issues, cognitively speaking, probably started in 2014, my last year when I was at work, still working. I was starting to have word loss. I was starting to read words funny on a page. Okay, and I thought it was because it was the past 2 years beforehand had been so stressful, and I was getting older, I thought maybe the dyslexia was taking further hold. I figured dyslexia could get worse because, for those who don't know, I was born with developmental issues. I was not meeting my milestones as I should. I spent a lot of time in hospitals with neurologists, psychiatrists, occupational therapists, you name it. What it did leave me with was a slight speech impediment, issues with my fine motor skills, which are still to this day a challenge, and probably more so these days, I find, as I'm more fatigued. For those of you who don't know, I'm 20 years recovered from a cocaine and speed addiction. And the reason I remind you of the conditions I was born with, my developmental issues I was born with, plus my previous cocaine addiction, is because, in my opinion, I believe those are the two main elements that caused me to have early onset frontotemporal dementia today. I believe that there might be a genetic component. I did talk with a geneticist. I had an at-length interview with a geneticist who thought it came from my father's side of the family, in particular my father and his mother before him. But it was inconclusive because my father was an alcoholic. He had a severe alcohol problem. And his alcoholism ultimately is what killed him. So it's inconclusive. While he had his bouts of dementia, it could have been related to the cirrhosis of the liver he was having. And my grandmother, well, and anyways, both of them are long since deceased, so they couldn't be interviewed. But yeah, I believe that my issue started back in 2014. It was also when for the first time, I had a diagnosis of borderline personality disorder, which had followed along. I had some because of heart surgery. When they shut your body down for the time of the surgery, they bring you back. You're a little brain dead. I lost words and motor skills. Yeah, the same thing has been happening to me too. Only I'm sorry you had to go through heart surgery, Miss Array. I'm glad you're better. I'm glad you're better now. But at that time, I had, other than dental surgery, I had never had surgery on me at that time. Like I said, come 2017, I had been referred to a neurologist because my short-term recall was getting much worse, even worse than I was at work. The reading was becoming more of an issue. I was reading words differently on a page, and I was reading numbers differently on a page. But also I was getting word loss, and that had been going on and getting worse. And I had noticed in some of the previous videos I've done on this channel, when I mean to say one word, another word completely different, completely out of context comes out. So far, I have not had any comments from the viewers about this, so I don't really, address that elephant in the room. If anybody's ever noticed, well, there's your explanation. The other reason I'm nervous about this is because I think one of my biggest fears living with this condition is my future. And the one thing I really, really do not want to have happen is I don't want to lose what little control I do have over my life. I am actually quite terrified of that. It broke your brain, Miss O'Ray? I'm sorry. But yeah, it is. Oh, thank you, Sheldon, for leaving a like. So anyways, like I was saying, we're down to 3 viewers. Okay. So like I was saying, it was, oh, thank you, Hearts Love. Thank you. But anyways, so it's like partly, I feel like, it's one of the reasons why I also decided to come back to YouTube in 2019, because I felt that my physical health too is getting worse. And for a while I was writing short stories, fiction and nonfiction, but even the fiction was based on real life experience. And now it's like I don't have the energy or the inspiration to write anymore. Kind of lost my muse. Every great artist has a muse. I lost my muse. So anyways, and I figured my stuff had a better chance of being seen or heard on YouTube, even long after I am unable to continue. But anyways, back to one of my biggest fears is losing what little control over my life I still have. Right now, I can still live on my own in an apartment. I wish I had someone to live with, but I don't, and it's not likely to happen. So my biggest fear is ending up in a provincial-run nursing home. Okay, if anybody is familiar with the Quebec CHSLD system, trust me, I don't recommend it for anybody. City lockup, okay, the city jail, okay, is a nicer place than a CHSLD. Trust me on this one. And I've been in city lockup over 25 years ago, so I can make this comparison and contrasting comparison, right? So I think that's one of my biggest fears, ending up in such a place. And it's not just your brain that goes with the condition, you know, it's not just your cognitive functions that go with this condition. Eventually the physical takes it too. You know, being less mobile, for instance, manual dexterity, all that lovely stuff, you know, that a lot of us take for granted. Already, like I said, I have issues with fine motor skills that stem, you know, that never really developed properly from my issues at birth. And it's not going to get better, you know. And I've had people around me telling me, you'll see, things will get better, things will get, well, no, they're not, you know, no. A, there is no treatment for this condition. And B, I'm not some young person, you know, I'm not some young millennial who has her whole life ahead of her. I don't, you know. If anything, my life expectancy is reduced. And even before the diagnosis of early onset frontotemporal dementia, I've already had a lifelong battle with mental illness. And people with mental illness statistically also have a 25% shorter life expectancy than somebody who does not suffer from mental illness. Statistics were never in my favor, you know. I do remember my brother, you know, writing me my birthday email on my 50th birthday. The day I hit the big 5-0 kicking and screaming. He says, you know what? I never thought either one of us would make it to 50. Well, first of all, my brother is not yet 50, but he's still in his 40s. Lucky him. But it's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. But that was his birthday greeting to me, you know. He said, I never thought either you would make it to 50. Yeah. I don't know. Take that as you will, kids. Take that as you will. I never said I came from a nice, normal, loving family. Never ever said I came from a nice, normal, loving family. Never. If anything, I think, you know, since my father passed away, I think we're even, no, I know, not, I don't think, I know we're even further apart. I remember trying to tell my mother about having the condition. She says, oh, nonsense. Your memory is good. Your long-term memory. You remember what we all wore at a certain dinner. Yeah, that is true. But this is the thing with a lot of people with Alzheimer's or dementia. Flashes of a long-term memory that happened in youth or childhood come up as clear as day a lot of the time. Because I have talked to other people with the condition, and they have seen it. And a lot of those people I talk to also experience trauma. Some of them, insofar as also having a diagnosis of post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. And part of the symptomology of PTSD is memory flashes, like when you're awake, like, you know, like it's happening, deja vu right in front of you, right? I hope I'm explaining this properly, because I'm finding this all very difficult to verbalize. Hey, Kootenai, Brown, Ed Coordinator. Oh, I know who you are. I know who you are. Yeah, I don't know if you'll allow me to call you by your real first name here in the chat. If not, I'll just call you Brown, okay? Yeah, okay. Oh, thank you, Miss Array. Thank you for posting it in Real Talk's Discord server. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So anyways. Okay, we won't call you that name, okay? We won't call you that name. We'll call you Brown Ed, okay? We'll call you Brown Ed. So something magical about Brown Ed. Brown education. Brown education. Okay, Gord. Some of you have probably met Gord before, some of you not. He is a friend on Facebook who is a fellow Canadian but lives very far away from my evil province. It's good to have you here. It's great to have you here, Gord. I appreciate you. Because they were there longer, short term hasn't had a chance to make an impression. True. That's true. But yeah, like I said, you know, so my mother, you know, had said, you have this great, you know, back to what I was saying, my mother always said, you had this great long-term memory, and it's true. And I already explained, you know, how this works. You know, we can have, and I think, and I'm sure many of you who have met somebody with Alzheimer's or dementia and at some phase in their condition, you could probably hear they can remember clear as day what happened to them walking to school when they were 9 years old with their siblings and running into some adventure there or whatever. Okay. So that happens. In my case, it's my short-term recall that is pretty bad. I forget also daily tasks that are basically rote for most people. I forget about them. Things like cooking, okay? That's become limiting as of late, okay? I don't cook stovetop anymore unless I have, because I don't trust myself to do it alone in the apartment. It has happened. I have left the stove turned on and have had nearly set fire to my kitchen. You know, not fun. I shouldn't be saying this out loud because somebody will probably file a competency, slap me with a competency thing. But anyways, visit that when we can, right? So I don't really trust myself to cook stovetop. So I use the oven because I know the oven has its own stop. What am I looking for? It stops cooking. You set a timer and it stops cooking. And it'll shut itself off and all that lovely stuff, like the coffee machine. So it's like, you know, until we can find something that shuts itself down, you know, when you cook stovetop. Wouldn't it be nice to have, if they invented the stovetop, that could shut itself off after a certain period of time? Thermostat, thanks, Gord. Yeah. But it's not that at all. Believe me, I have no say so in what I remember. That's difficult, Miss. I'm proud of you all making the best of shitty situations. Well, yeah, exactly, Hearts. That's the only thing. We don't have a choice. Gotta make life in shitty situations, you know. I also find, you know, I mean, up until I talked about it publicly, very, very few people knew about it. And I found that people who I thought were even friends, even minimally acquaintance even, had tried to take advantage of me. And this is a common problem. You know, you get taken advantage of. There is a lot of confusion, you know. I get a lot of confusion. I go into a metro station, particularly one that has multiple train lines where there's switch, you know, like at the Barrie UQAM downtown. And those of you who are not in Montreal have no idea what I'm talking about, except for maybe Sheldon. You know, so I get confused and I take the metro the wrong way. And it's happened several times that I would keep taking the metro the wrong way 3 to 4 times before I get the right metro home. So now I try as much as possible to avoid those metro stations that have more than one train line. I try to avoid those now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So it's Miss Array, my spouse said, I only hear what I want or remember what's convenient. Yeah, people like telling us that. That's a given. They love to tell us that. You know, they love to tell us that. You know, I guess the best way to describe my situation with my mind or my memory, be it long-term, mid-term, medium-term, or short-term recall, best way to describe it is I will get a flash of a memory of a family Sunday dinner when grandma was alive, my father was alive, and my brother and I were little. And grandma and my father would argue politics all the time, argue politics, social issues of the day. And it was the 70s, so there was in Montreal, there was plenty of fodder. There was plenty to argue about. You know, my father was more the social, liberal, progressive, and my grandma was this strict, conservative, staunch Catholic, set in her way. So you can imagine what life at the dinner table was like. But I can remember certain arguments word by word from 40, 45 years ago, even before I was able to speak. And yet I could have trouble finding my glasses and they could be in my hand I go into a room in my apartment, or I leave my apartment to go out for an errand. And then when I leave the apartment, I forget why the hell I left my apartment in the first place. Why am I outside? Where am I going? What did I need? And I would only figure, so I would go back upstairs, and then I would only figure out 3 hours later, 4 hours later or so, well, why didn't I pick up, let's say, the coffee? Why didn't I pick up the oat milk? Oh, that's why I was trying to go out earlier. Oh. So nowadays, what I do when I feel I'm on top of it or moderately on top of it, I order my groceries in. I order my groceries from online. And that's how I deal with that now. Yeah, that is how I deal with it. Yeah. So it's yeah, so that's how that runs. That's how that runs. So I order my groceries from going out. The other thing is, as many of you have known, I have other health issues now attached. As I have mentioned, I have an elevated white cell count that my doctor is looking into. I have my abdominal ultrasound at the hospital tomorrow that will determine if I need gallbladder surgery or not. And that too is making me very nervous. But I'm not going to talk about that right now because I haven't had the ultrasound yet, and we really don't know what we're looking at. But I think I find my life tiring and very stressful, honestly. I find it tiring and I find it stressful. Life in general, things that most take for granted, I find it difficult. I find it stressful. Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. Christmas is coming. I'm finding that stressful, and I have no Christmas plans. I have no Christmas plans whatsoever. So, and that stresses me out, the thought of feeling left out and all that, that is stressful, but, it's, so, and I also started a bucket list a couple of years ago when I was first diagnosed in 2017. I started a bucket list. Things I wanted to do. Yeah, I think we all have those dream lists, things we want to do before we can not necessarily pass on, but before we can't do them anymore, because this is what this condition does. It's going to rob us of everything and of our capability. Yeah, thanks, Hearts Love. Yeah, exactly. It is expensive. It's not cheap to have the groceries ordered online and delivered, but heck, that's what... especially in wintertime, it'll save me from going up and down the freaking stairs, and going outside in the winter. So it'll save me, so that will happen. Yeah. And it's fine. And I find that, I'm in Montreal, in a big city, supposedly with resources. But, with healthcare cuts in the province from the previous government, you do delivery too, Miss Ray? Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, you do. I hear you. So, where was I? That's another thing That's another thing. You see, I'm forgetting my words. It happens. I forget my words. I no longer am capable of reading really anymore. I mean, I'm capable of reading, but it is now more tedious to read, whether it's from a paper or from a book. Yeah, that's true too, Hearts. Being broke, it don't help, so your options are significantly limited. I live in a city, and people have romantic notions about the people of Montreal being oh so nice and friendly and fun, and it couldn't be further from the truth. Unless you look like a freaking Instagram model, okay, under the age of 35, this city will be hostile to you. Trust me. Oh, hi, Nicole. Good to see you. Good to see you. So, anyways, it's like, so we've got Miss Hearts and Nicole. Good. And I don't know if Sheldon and Gord are still in the house, but anyways. So, yeah, it is... So it is a challenge, but like back to what I was saying, I'd started a bucket list. I had started a bucket list. I had started a bucket list when I was first diagnosed in 2017. And it's funny as time goes on, I think what, yeah, me, you and me both, Nicole. You and me both. Glam, glam, Instagram, right? Yeah. Oh, hi, Shell. Good to see you. But, hi, Shell. Good to see you. Okay. So, anyways, it's, Shell, did I start my live while you were doing a radio show by chance? Are you doing a radio show tonight? Uh, Oh, he'll let me know. He'll let me know if he's doing a radio show. Sheldon usually does a radio show on Wednesday nights. Uh, yeah, you're right, Miss O'Ray. They are. So, anyways, it's like, um, yeah. So this bucket list of mine is like, I have less and less hope of fulfilling what I want, and like I said, it's before I can no longer do it, before I completely lose control of my faculties. And I told you, sorry for getting emotional. It is a hard video to do. Talked about this once before in a previous video last summer, and it's still just as hard to talk about. But I feel I must, because I feel I must get my story out until the time comes that I can no longer. And the other thing is, I wanted to bring awareness that this condition can and does happen to people. It's not just a senior citizen's condition anymore. It's not an old person's condition. My kid said that lady doesn't look like that lady, but it's the same lady. Disgusting. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Tomorrow evening is the radio show, eh, Shell? Okay, good to know. Okay, I didn't interrupt Sheldon's radio show. Good, good. Oh boy. Oh boy. Um. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So that's it. So I think. I mean, there was somebody I wanted to do a lot of the stuff, like certain adventures. Certain adventures. They weren't really elaborate. It was not like a trip around the world, like a James Bond-esque adventure. No, nothing like that. My needs are simple. My wishes are simple. They're realistic. I never was rich. I never will be. But things like a trip to PEI, Prince Edward Island, trip to Les Îles de la Madeleine, which is, way, way off eastern Quebec. Islands off the coast of eastern Quebec. Yeah, it is hard to talk about not remembering anymore. And I find that there is still very much a stigma. I mean, we hear people making jokes about it all the time, even, and I'm just as guilty about it too. Even after my diagnosis, I make jokes about my own short-term memory. I make jokes about it too. I mean, I'm all for laughing at myself, but I wonder if I'm being appropriate or not. And then that stresses me out further. That stresses me out further if my baby, is my humor appropriate? Is my behavior appropriate? I don't know, but it's like I said, and I find that lately also I am tired. Like everything makes me tired. A 5-minute errand around the corner to the pharmacy makes me tired. Like today, I wasn't doing very well at all. I was feeling kind of shaky. I was sleeping on and off. I was napping on and off all day. And yeah, you can call me lazy if you want, but like I said, I am completely fatigued, and even my own brain gets fatigued. I feel it. I get a lot of headaches, but I started getting migraines in 2008. So that was long before the diagnosis. And, but yeah, I think about the possibilities. So I think my biggest fears are my future. My biggest fears are my future. My second biggest fear is facing it alone. Yeah, facing it alone, which is looking more and more like it's going to happen. 2019 was a pretty bad year for my health-wise speaking. And I guess that gave me more time for YouTube videos. And Even when I was uploading and my iMovie still worked and I was doing uploads, like, yeah, my editing skills got better, but you know that I have to keep things written. I have to keep instruction lists written, how to do a certain step, how to do a certain jump cut. I have to do it that way because I don't remember off by heart. I can't remember off by heart. If I want to do a certain filter with the and now that the iMovie doesn't work, I need another video editor, which could cost money. And then I've got to start trying to learn it again. And it's harder for me to learn, not just because of dyslexia, but because of the condition. And I have to write things down or type things down or copy and paste things, save videos, video tutorials, and then press them each time, press every minute almost, because it's like 1 minute later, I forget what he said or she said, in the instructions, in the instruction manager. Yeah, it is elaborate. I wish there was a short way of doing things, and I can't always do live streams. I mean, for right now, for December, I do have the goal of getting up to my first 100 uploads or videos. And for right now, it's live streams that's most convenient, but I can't do that forever. For our openers, the algorithm does not favor live streams as much as it does uploaded videos. Yeah. Oh, hi, Kay. It's good to see you here. Kay is new. Journey to Find Kay. She is a new subscriber here. She has a channel about mental health. She reacts to the Rewired troll, Chris Boutte. She has the stomach to sit through those videos and break them down. So let's give her some props. Let's give Kay some props here. Kay, it's good to have you here with us. Oh, thank you, Hearts Love. And I'm sure most of you are, I mean, the regulars like Sheldon, Miss Array Company, I'm sure you all are. But eventually what's going to happen, I'm hoping to have some extra money at Christmas to buy Filmora, which is a video editor, because my iMovie, forget iMovie, it ain't going to work anymore. It won't even allow me to upload at more than 560, which is not even high definition. Minimum for high definition is 720, and it won't even allow me to upload at that anymore. So I need a new film editor, Filmora, and I'm hoping to have a little extra cash by Christmas at least to buy it. But like I said, it's then the huge learning curve, and I'm already intimidated by it. I don't learn as easily as most people. I never did, even before I ended up with this diagnosis. And we got to keep in mind, for 5 years, I was still having issues with the short-term memory, the word loss, everything, the headaches. Yet psychiatrists back in those days were determined to hold me with a BPD diagnosis. Go figure. But yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, Kay, meet Sheldon. He's my ex. He's a big help here on this channel. And if you saw the comedy video I sent you, Sheldon is also the voice behind it. He's the voice behind Bath the Panda. And Hearts Love did the illustration of Bath the Panda. Great. I have a great team. I have to say I am grateful for the channel, the help I get, from Sheldon, from Hearts, from all of you. I am grateful for all the help. None of us is paid here. This channel ain't monetized. This channel has been growing at a freaking snail's pace for the past a year and a half. Hey, Nicole, good of you to be here too. Good of you to be here too. Yeah, have you met Nicole? Sheldon. Nicole has a channel, Recovery, all about addiction from, I'm losing my words. Let's try this again. Addiction recovery. Addiction recovery. Yes. Nicole, Real Talk Recovery, has a channel about recovery addiction. And that's how I met a lot of you who are here. As a matter of fact, that's how I met a lot of you, and my regulars, a lot of my subscribers actually came from Real Talk Recovery's channel. So I appreciate that greatly. I appreciate that greatly. Yes. Sorry. I'm just so tired, and I'm nervous, and I'm stressed right now, and I'm not feeling, but yeah, so it's partly to bring awareness to this condition. It's, yeah. Where was I? Yes. Now, where was I? Okay. Where was I? Sorry, I know I'm sounding silly right now. I'm sounding very silly. Now I'm sounding like, okay, I'm about to make a very inappropriate joke. I'm sounding like somebody you got to remove the remote control from you get the television remote control. You got to remove the television remote control from me, you know? Oh boy. See what I mean? I make inappropriate jokes when I'm nervous. Hey, Filmora and bucket list. Thank you, Hearts Love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So the idea is daunting for me to learn a new film editor, but I have to, because if I want to keep this channel going and I want to keep this channel growing and I need to get more views. It's so daunting. 4,000 watch hours and 1,000 subscribers. And even then, there's no chance I'd be monetized. Not with the type of content I do. But hey, at least it's my head is my own, as what little is left of it. You know, the other stereotype I have to say, you know, the bucket list. So part of that was a little bit of traveling, you know, in Eastern Canada, you know, and going to Niagara wine country, bunch of stuff, you know, having a full-on vegan cooking channel on YouTube and doing something special with it, kind of like a traveling, you know, cooking show with different collaborators and that, but I don't see that happening at all either for a variety of reasons, like right now, I don't have the energy. My health doesn't permit, don't have the money. It takes a lot of money to produce that kind of thing. And again, I don't have the inspiration, you know, it's like I lost my muse. That has been one of the worst experiences of 2019. I lost my muse. He was who I thought was I'm not going to get into talking about him today. Maybe that's another talk for another time, but not today. I don't feel ready to. But it was just suffice to say, it was one of the two worst things that could have happened to me this year. And another thing I've noticed, why it's hard for me to talk about publicly, is I've noticed that with this condition, it's like mental illnesses. The variety of, you suffer from mental illness, frontotemporal dementia, early onset or otherwise, or any related to condition. You try to say something, you try to make yourself heard, you want to be validated. We all have a need to be validated, and you're easily dismissed. That's the thing. You're easily dismissed as crazy, or your mind is gone, and just because, at this time, I have not lost my intelligence. I just don't function anymore as a person my age should. I don't. Yeah, not on this channel. It's on STFC Kitchen Mishaps. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Hearts Love. Thank you for bringing it up. Thank you. Yeah, I am leaving those videos up for anybody who wants to check it out, to STFC Kitchen Mishaps. I just don't see myself uploading anything there in the near future. But I am leaving the channel up, and if you want to watch the videos, go right on. I invite you to do so. I discovered recently another channel about a woman who also suffers from early onset dementia. It's called, what's it called? It's called Living Life with Lisa. And I will have the link to her channel in the recommended, in a pinned comment below. Because I'm slowly finding I've never talked to this woman. I've never met her, but I'm slowly finding kindred spirits with her, commonalities, common challenges, common frustrations. I've noticed that she's still driving a car, so she too is not that far gone. It's great that she can still drive. I never could drive. I never learned how. But I can see driving would give you a certain independence, whereas one who is bound by public transit, not that I'm a public transit snob, I'm not. I encourage it as much as possible. It's just, for me, I've noticed public transit has been becoming more and more of a challenge to navigate on my own, and I find I have far less patience. And I'm far more frustrated with a crowded bus, you know, at any time, crowded. As such, I try to stay off public transit as much as possible during rush hour. But I find I don't have the patience. I don't have the frustration. I feel like get, you know? Yeah, you're absolutely right, Kay. You're absolutely right. Public transit is hard, especially if dealing with medical issues. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, thank you, Hearts. Yeah. Thank you, Hearts. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to leave the link to Living Life with Lisa in a pinned comment once I jump off this stream. I tell you, these videos are so hard to do, but I feel the need to do them. Like I said, call it my video journal. Lisa's, you know, people are seeing it. People are hearing it. Whereas people would not read my writing. Not at all. But I don't even feel inspired to take another writing class at all these days. I don't. Like I said, going around the corner takes all my energy. Hey, Nicole, love you too. Love you too. Living Life with Lisa. Yes, I am going to link it, Hearts Love. I'll give you the link now to the channel in the chat, but I will also put it in a pinned comment below. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. There it is. And you can check her out because I am finding a kindred spirit with her. Even though I've never met her, I've never talked to her. Will we ever chat with each other? Never say never. You know, it could become our very own community. You know, there's all kinds of communities on YouTube. It could become our very own community, even if it's only the two of us. You know what I mean? You know, and I know there are support groups around online and otherwise. Great. I love this community. I love this community that I've built here for myself. Many from the addiction recovery, many from the mental health, some from the commentary. Because I do all of them. I haven't found a specific niche, and I don't even feel an urge to find one, although I'm told I should. Oh, geez. Ouch. Sorry. I got a bout of dizziness just now. Okay, let's have a sip of water. Okay. Yeah, my flippant, dark sense of humor is not coming out today. Or my regular inappropriate humor. But if you want in it, I do. Shit. Yeah, once again, a word YouTube frowns on. But these days, I'm not impressed with YouTube. YouTube keeps people on the platform who do completely inappropriate and sometimes illegal things, immoral things. But we can get stricken or warned or reprimanded for using certain words. You know, and it's hard enough for me to find my words, to choose my words. So now I'm expected to remember what YouTube frowns on, you know. Yeah, you're right, Kay. I'm not going to argue that point with you. Because you're absolutely right, Kay. It's about money. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I talked about, I was bright and early at 6:30 in the morning. And I started preparing the live stream at 5 a.m. I hadn't slept because I couldn't sleep. Because I had seen something. I mean, I felt the rewired soul had hit an all-time low, even for him. Because I was asking the question. It was like, it really creeped me out. Because he was saying, like, what was he suggesting? Well, anyways, you can catch that video this morning. It's called, Is the Rewired Soul Empathizing with Amnesion? I'm not going to rehash that video now. You can take a look at it. If you can find the link and put it in the chat, and I will also put it in the pinned comment below. Oh, Gord, booger. Gord knows what I'm talking about. Sheldon knows what I'm talking about. Maybe some of you know what I'm talking about. There was a show in the 70s and 80s called WKRP in Cincinnati. This is another example of my long-range memory actually working. There was a show called WKRP in Cincinnati, and it was about a very dysfunctional radio station. And it was one of the lowest rated radio stations, despite their best efforts or their dysfunctions. And there was one played by Howard Hessman, Dr. Johnny Fever, a DJ, who was a washed up DJ pretty much, who had been fired for saying booger on the air. For saying booger. So we all now remember booger. Thank you, Heart's Love. Thank you, Heart's Love. Phone cops. Yeah. Booger. But yeah, I think, it's funny that my happiest memories of my youth are television shows that I watched. And even though my father had restricted my television watching, WKRP Cincinnati was not on Vincent's approved television watching list, let me tell you. So I had to watch it elsewhere on the sly, Yeah. I think I'm still drained from doing that video this morning. Oh, I'm still drained by doing that video this morning. I'm drained, period. I'm drained emotionally. I'm drained physically. I don't, it doesn't seem real. Tomorrow I go for the test, the ultrasound that will determine whether or not I need surgery. And of course, I'm not going to get the results on the same day. It'll take a couple of weeks before my doctor gets the results. But do you know that I'm already starting to anticipate that? I am anticipating, assuming that I might need surgery. Oh, thank you, Kay. Thank you, everybody. Gord, Sheldon, Heart's Love, Miss Ray, Nicole from Real Talk Recovery, and whoever else is here. I'm so glad you're here supporting me. I am so glad you're here supporting me. God, I'm grateful for this community. And I'm grateful for my friendship with Gord and Sheldon, who are real life friends. Yeah. But I find I had been judged even by people who I thought were friends. And I think that hurts the most about this condition. I mean, I thought mental illness, my mental illnesses, the depression, the anxiety disorders, the BPD misdiagnosis, I thought that was going to be my downfall socially, but no. This has become my downfall socially, largely in part. Thank you for the flowers and thank you for the emojis. Yes, anxiety is real, Kay. Yeah, it is real. It is very real. It is a real thing. I've had panic attacks. I've had anxiety attacks. I've been having a lot of them this year, as a matter of fact. The kind, where you can't catch your breath and you feel tingly on, all over your lips and your face and your hands, your fingertips. And in my case, I get foot cramps in my right foot. And it usually happens when I can't get an idea to hold for a long period of time. Or I get frustrated. I know I'm supposed to remember something and I can't. That's exactly what it is, I remember what I don't want to remember from long-term, youth from trauma from my youth. I remember what I don't want to remember. But what I need to remember, what I want to remember, what I need to remember, what I should remember, I don't, at least not on the spot. Somebody says, well, tell me now. And that's the thing. I had been, I feel pressured sometimes. Well, tell me now. What is it? I would be in a car with somebody, it's like, where do we turn? Which way do we turn? It's like, I don't know. I don't know where we turn. I don't know. And stop yelling at me. You're making it worse. Stop yelling at me. You're making it worse, I don't know. Like things like turn left, turn right. I don't know that. I mean, I know this is left, this is right, but right now I'm not really in a high pressured situation. But if I was in a car with somebody, it's like, which way do you turn? Which way do you turn? Choke. Yes, can't erase the dumb stuff, can't remember the good. You're right, Miss Array. 2019's motto. It didn't kill you though, right? No, 2019 didn't kill me. No. No, I guess that's the only upside to that. It didn't kill me. Yeah, it didn't kill me. But I think what hurt, oh, besides, between my health getting worse and, suffering a number of losses. And I'm not even talking about due to death. I'm not even talking about that. I had a client who would lash out that way as well because of the frustration. Yeah, exactly right, Kay. I mean, you know what I did once that was so stupid? I was eating at my desk as I always do. I tend to eat at my desk. I'm always at my desk. If I'm not having a nap in this apartment, I'm always at my desk at the computer, right? And I'd be eating something at my desk, and then the plate would spill over and the food would end up all over the place. Now, obviously, I can't eat it because I'm not one to eat off the floor. Yes, I am still civilized, believe it or not. I am still civilized. And what did I do? I just simply threw the plate at the wall. Threw the plate at the wall. Broke, smashed. Cleared it up, took 5 minutes, and then I cleaned up all the broken plate, And then scrubbing whatever sauce was on my food off the wall, to scrub it off the wall. Barbecue sauce on a wall is hard to remove. That's benign, banal household tip of the day from yours truly. Barbecue sauce is hard to remove from a wall. Then that's how I'm feeling. I'm losing my independence, And because I don't have family, and I don't have too many friends in my immediate environment, if at all, I worry about who will advocate for me because I'm going to need that. And one of those things is to keep me out of a provincial-run nursing home, keep me out of the CHSLD system. As I mentioned at the top of this video, for those just joining in, you don't want to be in a CHSLD, provincial nursing home network, in the province of Quebec, here in La Belle Province. You don't want to do that. Montreal City Lockup is a nicer place. And trust me, Montreal City Lockup is not a nice place. I have been there 25 years ago, Yeah, good to know about barbecue sauce, yeah. Yeah, good to know. But I felt good after breaking that plate against the wall, after throwing it against the wall, and it broke. Despite the mess that I had to clean up, I felt good after that. I don't know, I know this sounds twisted. Trust me, no one's more conscious of it. But it's kind of felt like it was the only power I had at the moment. I didn't have the power of the plate spilling over the food all over the place. But it was the only moment of power I felt I had was when I threw that plate at the wall. I don't know what it's like in Canada, but do they offer long-term home care? In the private system, Kay, in the private system, one has to pay for that. There is limited home care. It used to be better years ago, but successive. I'll speak for here in Quebec because healthcare is a province by province thing in Canada. But I'll speak for here in Quebec. We've had successive provincial governments cutting healthcare, slashing healthcare budgets, and home care is one of them, which I find stupid given the aging population that would need home health care. It would be certainly cheaper than warehousing them in the CHSLD system or warehousing them in some long-term geriatric ward at a hospital. It would certainly be cheaper. And I think most of us, I know I would, and then people that I have spoken to over the time, to keep some semblance of independence, dignity, or control over their lives, what little is left, I think most of us would prefer to be at home. We would prefer to be among our things, what we know, and rather than the sterile environment. I mean, nursing homes, hospitals, they have a particular smell even that is, to me, triggering. It's like, ugh. Don't remind me, I'm going to be entering a hospital tomorrow. I didn't know it's only going to be for a couple of hours. But yeah, it's like, and the neon lighting and the noise and, and you see people with tubes and, Medicare, healthcare, it's being cut in the US too. Yeah, I know that, Hearts Love. I know that. Yeah. We do have Medicare here in Canada, and in my province, we do have, it's called RAMQ, but it doesn't cover everything, like I said. For home care, there's a huge waiting list for it. It would be nice if the CLSCs had more mandates and all that, but they don't. Yeah. Working in respite care was great. I enjoyed doing it and being there. Are you able to speak about the CHSLD without divulging confidentiality for the people? Yeah, sure. I can talk about that, Sheldon. Sure. I can talk about that. Okay. CHSLDs, what's usually happened because of budget cuts and largely because of an aging population. And with the aging population, you have more and more seniors living in poverty or living at lower income. So they cannot afford a nice swanky, a nice private nursing home. Although the privately run nursing homes have been problematic in years too, and there have been investigations and inquiries, some that have fallen through the cracks. But the CHSLD is the public system it's a network of nursing homes, and it goes by the neighborhood you served in. These nursing homes, what has happened, I can tell you one story without mentioning names because this woman is now passed on, but what happened was there was a lot of neglect, and she's not alone, a lot of neglect. Her, for example, she couldn't get out of bed anymore. She was no longer mobile. She was like at 100 years old. She couldn't even sit in a wheelchair without being slumped. So she was bedridden, and she ended up dehydrated. She got very sick, and they couldn't figure out why. And she was dehydrated, and they figured out because some stupid attendant, who are usually underpaid, overworked, and underqualified, they left her water, her little water bottle, her little cup, and her bottle of water. They left it on top of a piece of furniture across the room. How is this poor woman who is completely bedridden supposed to get this water? So she ended up dehydrated to the point where it made her sick. And yes, there have been incidents of physical abuse from staff. And they usually prey on the people, those like myself, who don't have people to visit them, who don't have families or anyone to advocate for them or who look out for them. There was another incident, a person in well advanced case of Alzheimer's who was no longer mobile. She was sitting in a chair. And all of a sudden she was on the floor. And the question became, how did she fall out of this chair? She couldn't move at all. So there was an investigation into that. So it's endless investigations and such. It is horrific. I'm not surprised, Hearts Love. I'm not surprised. I was in a nursing home for a month, learned a lot about all sides of it. I see. Miss Array, I see. Oh yeah, and they do cover their tracks. They do cover their tracks. Not a question. They do cover their tracks. They don't want to be sanctioned, right? Like I said, I'd rather be in jail. I'd rather be in city lockup. Okay, and like I said, city lockup is not a nice place. I was there 25 years ago spent a lovely weekend in city lockup waiting to be bailed out on the Monday morning. Sorry for my coughing. My throat's dry. So yeah, trust me. At least it's, trust me. So that is one of my biggest fears, and that is one of my biggest fears, and that's how it works. So yeah, so those are just a few examples of CHSLD living. CHSLD versus city lockup. But I wonder how many others compare jail to nursing homes. Even in the United States, anywhere in the world, really. I don't know. But yeah. Oh, and with Christmas coming, even that, I just can't wait till winter is over. I can't wait till these winter months are over already, Yeah, I'm sure there are, Kay. I'm sure there are. Absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with you. Excuse me. My throat is pretty dry. All your clients have said that too, huh? Okay, you see? I'm not alone. I'm not alone. And Kay is in the United States, not here in Canada. Kay is in the United States, just like most of you in the chat. How many videos do I have left to reach 100 videos? Including this one, I think 5, including this one. And that'll make 100 videos. And I believe I'll have to check my analytics to be sure. Because here's the thing, I also have videos that are privated or unlisted because I made videos specific for certain people that are not meant for the public audience. I just happen to upload them to my channel as private because it's easier for me to send a link rather than upload and download heavy, huge files. But yeah, so I have, but I believe it's 5 public videos. So that's what I mean, public that you're all able to see, everybody's able to see. So it'd be 5, including this one. Does anybody have any questions? Because, like I said, I did mention I would be happy to entertain questions. You can ask me anything you like. We're going to be an open book here. So if there's any questions, that is a lot of work. Yeah, Kay, you're realizing that now as a new content creator. Yeah, it would be awesome, Hearts Love. Yeah, I've been at it a year and a half. I swear to God. I don't grow fast like certain channels. I've seen channels that blow up in a month, They blow up in a month, but sometimes it's a type of content, and some, without mentioning names, I find some have sold their souls, if you will, in the name of views. They have sold their souls. I try not to do that here. I try to stick to myself. I try to keep my integrity intact, I try to keep my integrity intact. I do my best, but yeah, some have sold their souls. Honestly, I find they run for the lowest common denominator. Mental health, addiction recovery, while it's a great community it's a great community. I noticed that, with a few exceptions like CG Kid or Depression to Expression, those channels, I find the YouTube algorithm is not recommending them as much. But yeah, I might have missed it. But what were you diagnosed as before? Yeah, Kay, before the early onset dementia, I was diagnosed for a few years. This was when I went on sick leave from my previous job in 2014. Because of a breakdown. I was diagnosed for several years from 2014 at the age of 40. God, I can't even calculate anymore. I was in my mid to late 40s in 2014. They started diagnosing me with borderline personality disorder. And I was even put in a DBT program because my employer the doctor, the HR doctor at work kind of wanted it. Although that was a disaster in and of itself, that whole DBT program, partly because it was really inappropriate for me, and largely in part the therapists running it were a bloody bunch of incompetence. Sheldon can tell you about that. He came with me on a few occasions. That's okay, Miss O'Reilly. It's okay. I keep these live streams up for those who have to leave in the middle or leave late or jump in late or leave early. Sheldon, with your FTD, how many times per year do you see the doctor? Does your doctor keep you going with different array of tests to see how you're doing? I have not had any follow-up since 2017, in all honesty. I mean, my GP, my family doctor, asks me how my memory is, how I'm doing. If things have gotten, if I've noticed any changes in my memory or in my functioning or like my basic functioning, he asks. But other than that, I have not had a neurological follow-up since 2017. Goes to show it's easy to fall through the cracks here. Yeah. Yeah, therapists and DBT. I have a couple of videos. Back in the days when I had no clue how to edit a video, and I didn't have these nice soft lamps in here, so it was a dark living room with a crappy yellowish wall. But they're up. And at that time was before I got the denture too, so I still had my bad teeth. Yeah. So it's so yeah, it was borderline personality disorder from 2014 to 2017. And I never felt that borderline personality disorder was fair, because I felt one of the problems was my individual therapist. She appeared to not believe in dyslexia or learning disabilities. I remember telling her what my father was a high school teacher himself, and in the 8th grade, there was one term I failed. It's because I ended up switching schools from 7th to 8th grade, and it was a special French immersion school. So the grade 8 program was a continuation of the grade 7 program. The grade 7 program was the prep. I didn't have that program. I didn't have the benefit of that prep because I was in a different school. And anyways, in the 8th grade, I failed a term, or was failing or barely passed. And my father gave me extra studies, and that's all he wanted me to do was study. But what ended up happening was the second term, I did a lot worse. I failed everything. And I remember telling the individual therapist that, and all she said was, "You were just rebelling against your father." And it's like, which is stupid, because if anybody met my father, and Sheldon has indeed met my late father, everybody knows you do not rebel against my father. It's just not done. You just take it, you just don't do that, you know? Yeah, 2 years. Okay, thanks, Hearts. What's and an obnoxious therapist who was snide and rude. Yeah, that same therapist also called me a dyke. Still haven't forgiven that one. She called me a freaking dyke. That's another word YouTube frowns on. But that's what she called me. That's what she called me. Do you know why she called me that? Because she said I had the thought patterns of a man. I had the thought patterns of a dude. That's why. She told me she thought I should get my hair cut super short, or that I should get a crew cut. That's what she told me. But anyways, whenever I would tell her about the issues I'd have with learning, or the thing about my short memory and my short memory recall, and having the trouble with the reading or my words or anything like that, never validated it. She said I wasn't trying hard enough. Wasn't trying hard enough to make myself socially acceptable. She even told me she didn't want me wearing the hats anymore. Imagine that. I did report her, Kay, and I ended up losing. I even appealed the decision to take it to the disciplinary committee of the OPQ, which is the psychologist's order here in Quebec, and to no avail. Their basic reasoning was, well, she did apologize to you, and she only meant no harm. She was only trying to have fun with you. I didn't think it was fun. You know what one of the questions was? I told these people after she had called me that word, the D word, they asked me, well, aren't you? And it's like, that's neither here nor there. No, I am not. As a matter of fact, Sheldon, who is in the chat room, is my ex-partner of 9 years. No, I am not. But even if I was, it's still highly inappropriate. Not only highly inappropriate, but it's unethical to do that. H phobia is inappropriate. Well, that's exactly one of the reasons why I decided to stop going to therapy, Kay. That's one of the reasons why. When I found I was going, when my sick leave turned into a retirement, and I do have a video about that also, and I can link that in the pinned comment once I jump off this stream. When it was determined by the independent expert that my employer had hired, that is not the HR doctor, but an independent expert. The independent expert determined that I could never return to work. So, yeah, and that's when I decided I was done with therapy. You see, before all this fiasco, I had a psychiatrist and things were done much differently. And it was before the budget cuts and before they made these silly laws in the province. I had a psychiatrist for over 20 years who gave me talk therapy, basic talk therapy. He let me lead the session. I mean, his methods were unorthodox, but unorthodox in a good way. It worked for me, you know, it worked for me. And he saw me from the age of 16 or 17. I was in group home at the time. And he saw me up until age 36. So these are the crucial years. If someone is to be diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, it would be within those 20 years, especially the younger ones, the younger half of those decades, right? So from 16 to 36, about maybe in my 20s, maybe early in my late teens. You know, I mean, how often does somebody in their late 40s get diagnosed with borderline personality disorder? And that was the number one telltale in my head. I knew this was wrong because I had a psychiatrist for 20 years who never, ever gave me that diagnosis, ever. He had diagnosed me with depression, with major depressive disorder, social anxiety disorder, and post-traumatic stress disorder, but never borderline personality. Yeah, thank you, Kay. I figured you'd know because Kay, for those of you who don't know, Kay actually works in the field of mental health as well. So she has some knowledge under her belt. And you're right, Kay. Facts, it doesn't matter. Shouldn't have said that, period. You're absolutely right, Kay. Yeah, absolutely right. So, yeah. And I did fit in with her stereotype, and I'm tired of being stereotyped, in all honesty. I'm tired of being stereotyped. I'm tired of people having the wrong idea about me. And I remember my mother telling me, well, you know what you should do? Stop wearing your hats. Start putting on some lipstick. Really? Put on lipsticks and stop wearing my hats and all will be well with the world. I started wearing hats when I was 15, so... yeah. So, yeah. Good grief. So, you know, that's where I'm at now. You know, I'm doing the best I can. I'm doing the best I can on my own for as long as I can. It would have been nice if I could accomplish some of the things I'd like on my bucket list. But it looks like that's not going to happen. Ugh. That is sad. That is very sad. That's what makes me mad. Mental health isn't about judging. It's the main reason I love this field, but it definitely still needs work. Absolutely right, Kay. Absolutely right. It is still very much maligned in some diagnoses, and you know what I'm talking about, Kay. I think many others in the like Heart's Love and whoever else, Miss O'Ray and whoever else is still around, they know that too. There are still flaws for sure. Yeah, you're right, Heart's Love. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know why I'm so emotional right now. I don't know why I'm so emotional. That's another thing I find. I'm emotionally fragile. I always had been emotionally fragile. I was often told you cry too easily. Maybe I do. So much for the idea of thinking like a dude, huh? Having the mind frame of a dude. Yeah, so much for that. Oh dear. Yeah. And oh God, I am so. Oh, thank you, Heart's Love. Thank you. Oh, geez, I'm a mess. I am a total mess. Um, I'm a total mess. Yeah. And the other thing, very few of, somebody did take advantage of me recently, but I'm not going to talk about that because I don't feel ready to talk about it. I know I'm pulling this. I shouldn't have mentioned it in the first place. I apologize. I shouldn't have mentioned it in the first place. I apologize. Okay. Wow. Yeah, this is where I start getting the bouts of confusion, and I'm finding my words, looking for my words. Oh, dear, 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 dear. Okay. Yeah, you know, and I think one of the things that's at the forefront of my mind as well is, had I not gotten into cocaine and speed in the first place, would I be going through what I'm going through today? We don't know. Because, like I said, the geneticist couldn't conclude anything. And there was also the fact that I was born with those developmental delays. So we don't know. We don't really know at the end. I know I could blame myself for a lot of my actions, a lot of my mistakes. I did a lot of crap that I regret. Hung around with the wrong people and all that. But at the end of the day, it's not going to get me very far. I've made amends. I've made amendments. Do you know what I did? Speaking of making amendments, as I feel that my health is declining, I called up an ex. Well, I didn't call him up. I made a private video for him and I sent it to him. We're friends on Facebook, but we don't really talk to each other. He's an ex I had when I used to live in the country. And his life is going better now, but it was a tumultuous life for both of us. It was a small town country, a lot of gossip. Quebec's small town. Think the idea, only one bank and 8 churches, okay? Okay, if the next door neighbor, if somebody, God, about a mile down the road sneezes, the whole town is going to know about it. That type of deal. Okay, so anyways, I hit him up with a video, and I wasn't expecting him to respond. I think that's one of the steps of the 12 steps. I haven't been to a 12-step meeting in ages. I forget what the steps are, or what order they're in. Maybe some of you here in the chat might be able to tell me, or remind me. But I was making amends. So he called me. He called me yesterday. I was surprised. He called me yesterday, and because the relationship that had started, there was a lot of gossip about it. His relationship with another woman and the mother of his child of 20 years before had ended. And it was believed that I broke that relationship up. And I started thinking about that years I didn't think about it. I never believed it was my thing. It was what it was long before I came on the scene, and she was leaving anyway. But, it's like, now, did I have any responsibility in this? Did I have any responsibility? And I started more and more feeling responsibility about it. And I thought, before I forget about it entirely, or before I become completely inappropriate, I sent him a private video giving my apologies and my regrets. And then I know that it can't fix what happened, but I wanted to let him know that I do take responsibility for my part, my role in all of it. And he called me, and he wasn't angry at all. He had said, look, he had told me things I didn't even know back then, or if I did, I forgot about them. That's the other thing, or I forgot about them. But he had, maybe it was a reminder, maybe it was new information. I don't know. But he had told me all kinds of things that had nothing to do with me. And half of me started to feel relieved and reassured. But the other half of me felt, what did I do? What was my role in all of this, Yeah. Thanks, Kay. Okay, I'll stop. Yeah. So I was making the amends, I was making my amends. Reconciling certain things. I think that's good for the soul. It's hard to do. It's good for the soul. There's, other people I could reach out and to them, but I think it would harm them more if I did that. So I'm not going to. That's also part of that stuff in the 12-step program. If anybody recalls, I think there is an exception to that amend rule when it causes that person more harm. Like I said, somebody who knows more about 12-step meetings, feel free to jump in, please. Yeah. So I had to get some closure on my past, on my past. And I'm still working on it mentally, and I'd like to have it done before I completely lose the capability of doing so. For right now, I think doing these videos helps me. I think it helps me. I think it's good for me, even if it's hard to do a certain video or hard to tell certain stories. There are certain stories I will probably never tell publicly, but will probably go in a future Patreon account, which I plan to open somewhere down the road, I hope. A Patreon account where I'll be sharing more personal stories that I don't really want public. But the tiers will be like super, super cheap. Okay. It's like, they will be super, super cheap, and I hope affordable. Yeah. I'm not going to do somebody with the $50 or $100 tiers. No, not going to do that. But that's somewhere down the road, and I'll be telling those more detailed stories then. But yeah, sometimes, but as a whole, it is cathartic to do these videos, right? You're exercising your brain. It's good for you. Yeah, that's what I was told. That was what I was told. Exercise the brain. That's why I do try to read articles, news stuff, reading research studies on a topic that I'm interested in. That's what I do, to try to remain as sharp as I can for as long as I can. I had been researching Alzheimer's and dementia as well, because I would like to see if there is an experimental treatment out there, especially maybe available in Canada. I haven't found anything to date, but I am researching that. And yeah, I am researching that. So to find out. Yep, when you reach out to others and talk to people, it can help others too. Exactly right, Kay and Heart's Love. Exactly. So I will, yeah. So yeah, I have been researching that. If there is an experimental treatment that becomes available in Canada, yeah, I would be definitely open to trying that. Because it would be better than what's available today, which is pretty much nothing. Yeah. So that's yeah, that's how it goes, right? Give me a second, please. Please give me a second. Yes. So, hang on. No, I'm not going to be doing a screen share this time. No. So so that's my story, pretty much my life these days, which is pretty much scrambled. I will keep you all up to date as things go on. I'm going to be jumping off this stream very shortly because I've been on for an hour and a half, right? An hour and a half. But before I go, if there are any questions, because I did promise a Q&A, and I always do my best to keep my word. There are no stupid questions, just to know. There are no stupid questions. If you have a question, feel free to ask, and I will answer, and stuff like that. As far as upcoming videos coming up, I have 5 more, including this one, to make it to 100 even videos on my channel. I'm not sure what my next trick is going to be, and well, thank you. Thank you, Kay. So, yeah, I'm really glad you came by, Kay. We welcome newcomers. We're welcoming here. Heart's Love, too. Heart's Love is always... where was I? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was talking about videos. So if anybody has a video idea for my next 5 videos, like I said, for the time being, it's going to be live streams until I can get Filmora or another such video editor where I can do uploads, where I can do my old voiceovers with the visuals and the sound effects and all that lovely stuff. So if anybody has any video ideas, you can leave it in the chat now, or once I jump off the stream, please feel free to leave it in comments. I will put that question out also in the pinned comment, as well as the recommended links to some of my older videos and to some channels that I recommend. And so, yeah, feel free, whatever you want to hear me talk about. Those of you who are new to my channel, take a look at my playlist, take a look at my videos so you get an idea what I talk about. I talk about a wide range. I don't stick to really one specific narrow niche, as you can see, because I have a lot, because I'm a chick with a lot on her mind. That's why. New video idea and any Q&A. Yes, exactly. Exactly. For those who want to support the stream, I have a PayPal link in the description box. That's what it is at this time until I can figure out how Streamlabs works. But don't feel pressured. I will always provide content for free. Whatever I do raise will be going towards, will be invested directly in my channel. But like I said, don't feel pressured. I know I feel weird even doing the egg begging thing, you know. That's what people frown on. But yeah, but don't worry about it. So yeah, but basically right now what I want is any video ideas, what you'd like to see or hear me talk about. And, you know, please leave it in comment section below once I jump off this stream. If you still have questions and if you have questions that come to you only later after I jump off this stream, please feel free to leave it in comments below. I want to thank you all for coming and stopping by. Yeah, thank you, hearts, for passing. Yep. Thank you. So I want to thank you all for stopping by. It's funny. I don't do Vlogmas, though. I do anti-Vlogmas. That's what I do. I do anti-Vlogmas. If you want to see another comedic anti-Vlogmas video that I did last weekend, also let me know, and we can arrange that too. For those who don't know, last Saturday I did an absolutely mindless live stream. That was a lot of fun. It was an anti-Vlogmas. That means inappropriate Christmas stories, inappropriate Christmas songs, bad poetry with my alter ego. She's a fucker. Poetry's so freaking bad, it's genius. Oh, okay. Well, bon appetit. Bon appetit, Kay. Oh, good. Okay. Bon appetit. That's right. It is supper time for you. Yes. Kay is a couple of hours behind me. So, yeah. So if you want to see another anti-Vlogmas, I can arrange to do that this weekend as well. Some point this weekend, or maybe sometime during the week. There's always endless fodder for that. Yeah, we did have a good time, didn't we, Hearts? We did have a great time, and it helps me, you know, when I put the, my attempted sit-down comedy, sit-down comedy. Oh, thank you, Sheldon. I will let you know. Well, as you know, the results they're not going to give me the results right away to the ultrasound. I have to wait a couple of weeks. They're going to give it to my doctor, and my doctor in turn is going to call me. And if it turns out I have gallstones, he's going to refer me to a surgeon. And it all depends if they can get my white blood cell count down, because that's contingent too. I have to get my white cell count down. Yeah. So thank you, Sheldon. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to be jumping off very shortly. I always do. I seem to linger. I got to stop doing that. Yeah. I got to stop doing that. You are all awesome. Kay, again, welcome. Thank you all for those who were in the chat. Miss Ray and Nicole from Real Talk Recovery was here earlier. Gord, Kootenay Brown Ed, who was here earlier. Yep, I will, Sheldon. I will. I always do. Thanks to Heartslove and Sheldon for being great friends and supports to the channel. And Kay, thanks for stopping by and being supportive. I think you are going to be a great addition to this community, not just when coming I think you're going to be a great addition to this community, Kay. I really do. And for those who go check out Kay's channel, Journey to Find Kay, Journey number 2, Find Kay. Check out her channel. I linked to it in a previous video yesterday. I will link to it again in a pinned comment below, as well as Living Life with Lisa. Okay. So I'm going to get off now because, like I said, it's really been an hour and a half, and I'm breaking my promise of going over an hour on these lives. So, yeah, Kay's channel is growing. It's growing. It's a yeah. So I will leave a link to her channel as well. And so, as well as previous videos of mine, I'm going to leave my previous frontotemporal dementia video, as well as I always knew I was different growing up with learning disabilities. I will leave that video in a pinned comment as well. I think I mentioned a few other older videos I was going to put in the pinned comment, but I forgot what they were. Please remind me if there's any of old videos that I mentioned, please remind me in the comments below. Okay. It's not that I mean to break my word. I don't. I always try to keep my word. It's just I forget. So I forget a lot of the time. Yep. Thank you, Hearts, for putting it. Thank you for putting that's Kay's channel in the live chat for those who don't know. So anyways, I'm going to wish you all a good, I'm getting tired and hungry. Okay. So I want to wish you all a very good night. And like I said, if you have any questions about my condition or anything else, feel free to drop it in comments. You got a video suggestion, you want to hear me talk about something? Yeah, I'll put the link to the Kitchen Mishaps channel, Hearts Love, in the pinned comment as well. I'll put that up. Yeah, Life with Lisa. Yeah, that's right. I have it open. I have the tab open to remind me for Life with Lisa. Living Life with Lisa. That's the channel. Living Life with Lisa. That's another woman's journey with early onset frontotemporal dementia. So yeah, so anyways, if you've got a video suggestion for a live stream to come up to complete the next 5 videos for the 100 public videos, please let me know. Thank you all. You all are awesome. You all rock. I love you all. And I'm grateful for this community. Please take care of yourselves and each other. And remember, if there is somebody in your midst who is vulnerable or at risk or alone, please take the time, especially this holiday season. Please take the time to check in on them. Share a meal, share a coffee, or just lend a sympathetic ear. Sometimes that is all it takes to make all the difference in the world to this person's life. And I will catch you all in the next one. Straight talking Fedora Chic, over and out. Have a good night, all. Thank you. I will get rest. Thank you.